Hey friends, it's Steven and Courtney, or Courtney and Steve. I don't know which way I did it. I wasn't looking at the camera. But anyways, we are going to be talking about how genetic testing is going to change the hobby, or at least our opinions, our thoughts on it. So, I know I get rambly, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop because Courtney will make fun of me later on for it.
We're doing it side by side because it's really hard to just talk about this topic because it's such a conversational topic right now. There's so much going on with it, and it's hard to just talk to yourself because you want to ask people questions and their opinions. We're just really interested in how this genetic testing is going to affect things. So we figured we'd kind of record ourselves talking about it.
Let's get to it. So first thing is, what is genetic testing?
Why ask me? I already said it 5 times. All right, so if you guys don't know what this genetic testing is, right now they've really opened up the
availability?
The availability to send in your animal's sheds and get those sheds tested for specific genes. There's how many right now?
I think there's 5, but we were talking about this earlier. I can only remember 4. It was like clown, pied,
ultramel, lavender albino, and I know that there's other geneticists who can test for the yellow belly complex, toffee, and albino. Maybe krypton is one of them.
Yeah, something.
We're having a hard time remembering all of them, but you can definitely look it up.
Rare Genetics Incorporated is the people who are doing it.
They are going to be doing this genetic testing through Canova's Clutch and through Morph Market. So you can order your tests that way, like going to one of those platforms. We signed up for like a wait list, I believe, for the beta availability. We don't actually have any animals that we need to have tested at the moment, but we wanted to have that open to us when we were ready to start testing animals. I think when we ask people about it, the first thing that comes to mind is like testing your breeders, your possible hets that you have already purchased and you are already planning on breeding. But I really don't think that's what the market's going to be. I don't think that's what's going to be a big difference.
I agree. And I do think that there's benefit. Like we have a black pastel spot nose 66% pos het clown girl that we're already pairing. Like we've already paired to our visual clown. We probably will test her just so we know before the clutch happens if she is like het clown. But I think that the biggest benefit is going to be when we are producing babies, and these babies might be pos hets, whether they're pos het clown, pied, anything like that, us being able to know that 66% pos het clown is actually a 100% pos, or 100% het clown.
And we were talking to a couple other breeders and hobbyists actually tonight, and it kept coming up, people saying, I think it's going to be most valuable to triple and quadruple recessives. And I think a lot of people are really aiming to hit those triple and quadruple recessives. And if there are the tests for those animals, I think it will 100% help move those projects forward faster. But I don't think that we should ignore the just single gene, hets. I don't think single gene as in a normal het clown, that it will make much of a difference, because it's $60 for a test. If you have a male clown, a male het clown, it's not really worth the $60 to get it tested, because that price is not going to increase by $60 for a single gene male het clown. But if you have some crazy genes, if you have a het to het pairing and you have like all gene animal, and you want to know if that all gene female has het clown, I would get it tested.
Yep, 100%. I think that one of the most immediate things that it's going to do is it's going to let people have a better ability to pick their holdbacks, so they're not holding back if you do a pos het clutch and you're holding back every single female, so that way you might be able to get one of them to have the het that you're looking for. You're only holding back 1 or 2 females. So with less people holding back less animals, there might be more room for people to buy animals.
And I think something we were talking about is that going to drop or increase prices? Is that going to, I think it's going to immediately get rid of any price increase you can have for a pos het on a gene that is already testable. So like your pos het ultramel, pos het pied, you're not going to see that, nobody's going to be selling a high value animal that isn't tested that's a pos het pied or clown. I don't think. I think if you have a $4,000 snake, you're going to pay the extra $60 to find out if it's a $10,000 snake.
I completely agree.
And I also think, you know, if that het clown adds a value of maybe like $500 for a pos het, but $1,000 for a guaranteed het, I think you're going to get that, you know, $60 test every day, because nobody's going to want to pay the extra money when they could get it tested.
Yeah, I think that'll come into a situation where you could look up an animal. Let's say that you're looking up desert ghost het clowns, and you see that there is a male desert ghost 66% pos het clown and a desert ghost het clown. And if the prices are the difference of a couple $100s, you're going to buy the 100% het clown all day long. The pos het probably, in my mind, shouldn't be worth, if it's not tested, it should not be worth any amount more than the desert ghost, because clown is one of the things that you can test for. And if you're not testing for that animal, I'd be a little curious why they weren't testing that animal, and it might make me think that they maybe did test the animal and it wasn't the results that they wanted.
And that is a good point, because I think that's a good point, and it's a good thing to move into, because if you're not aware, if you get it tested through Morph Market, the animal that you purchased that test for, if it comes back negative, it is now negative on Morph Market. You cannot change it back to a pos het. It is going to say, you know, it's going to delete that het and it won't let you put it back on. So you would have to create a whole new animal in order to do that. And you're right. I think, you know, some people who don't like the idea of it holding you accountable might just refuse to do tests altogether.
But then it comes down to like buy from reputable breeders, and if somebody isn't willing to honestly test their animals, I don't know how much like reputability? Yeah, reputability, word of the day. But how much reputability they have. If they have animals that could be tested and they make sense financially because they would turn them from a $1,000 animal into a $2,500 animal, people are going to test them. And if they're not accurately letting people know that they tested them and that it proved not to be het for whatever they were testing for, I think that people are going to refuse to buy from them.
I think that we will see a little bit of confusion when it comes to, you know, you already kind of see people who they learn something and they get kind of caught on that thing, and they start thinking like, oh, all reputable breeders do this, they have to have this quality. And I will be interested to see how people are, you know, maybe take, well, this one's a proven het, like this is definitely het clown, and I will only buy like tested animals. When, you know, if you have a visual parent, you know that it's het clown. I wonder if there's going to be a group of people who, you know, act like just because it's not tested that
it's not as verified.
Yeah, I wonder.
Which I can get that too. Like I think that if you're kind of breaking it down into different categories, you're going to have 100% hets that have been genetically tested and it's been verified by Morph Market or Clutch, and that the user, once they're genetically tested, cannot alter that. Then you're going to have 100% hets that weren't tested, but based off of the pairing, you know they're 100% hets. And that's going to be really down to, do you trust the breeder when they told you the pairing? And it's really about your reputation at that point. And then I think that there's your pos hets, which I think will significantly decrease in value. Untested pos hets, I think, will become very, very close to the price of animals without the het at all. And then you have animals that are not het for anything.
And the breeder can list them for whatever price they want, but that doesn't necessarily mean you'll see that. You know, with like a lot of the more popular recessives and hets, like albino clown, things like that, you see a lot of pet owners purchase a, you know, banana het clown, and they don't care that it's het clown, but they still purchase the het clown because it didn't really add that much more to the price, or they fell in love with a specific animal. I think for us, the most valuable thing for the genetic testing will be our double het pairings, because we're not aiming to hit any triple recessives anytime soon. So our double het to double het, like clown
double het sunset clown to double het sunset clown, double het sunset ultramel, double het sunset desert ghost. Those are going to be things that we are going to want to test. We get a sunset from those clutches, guaranteed every single one of those visual sunsets are going to be tested to see if they are het clown or het ultramel.
And nobody's asked us to do this, but we've already started saving sunset sheds. And so that if they open up like, oh, we want to start developing our sunset test, please send in your sunset sheds. We got you. We're ready for that. But yeah, we have 3 posset animals.
Yes.
That we own. So we have 2 posset sunsets. That's not something that could be tested for, but we're going to be hopefully proving them out this year. And then we have a posset clown. And that posset clown, we didn't even buy her as a posset. Well, I guess technically we did, but we wanted her because she was a very beautiful black pastel spot nose. And like after I'd already pulled my card out, they mentioned, oh yeah, by the way, she's also, 66% possible het for clown. I didn't put it on there because I don't charge for that kind of deal. So that influenced the way we wanted to pair her. And so we'll find out if she's clown this year. If she is, great, we'll go down that road. If she's not, honestly, I don't think we'll be horribly disappointed because she's got such awesome genes in her already.
Yeah, and I do think that one thing that this has already done for us is we have picked up one animal that we never would have picked up had it not been for the genetic testing, and that was at Daytona. We picked up a ultramel female that is 100% het for pied. And the reason why we did that is we don't work the pied project very much. We have 2 pied animals, not including
visual
her.
Pied,
yeah, visual pieds. But we didn't get her to pair her to a pied. Instead, what our plan is we want to pair her once she's up to size, because she's a little baby hatchling right now. We want to pair her into the Sunset Project in order to work 100% of her babies will get ultramel, 50% of her babies will get het pied. And we can genetically test for those, and then we can know, do we have a triple het or do we have a double het? Or do we have maybe at like some point we get a sunset ultramel or sunset clown? Like we can add in the pied part from her even though she is not a visual ultramel pied. So we were able to get the same genetics we could have gotten from a visual ultramel pied for like a 1/4 of the price.
And a lot of times it is worth it to buy the 2 visuals because you're increasing your odds. But in this case, yes, it's still increasing. It's still less of an odd because a het only gives that gene to 50% of their offspring. So would love for Sunset to be available when we start pairing that. But there's a test for ultramel, right? There's a test for pied. So we could pair them to our, or we could pair her to our, maybe if we had a sunset ultramel at that point, that'd be great. Because
she's a baby. She's a baby.
Yeah, we're working on the double hets now, so they're babies too, and we won't have any visuals at that point. But we will have hets. So if the sunset test is there, and we have double het, sunset ultramel, visual ultramel, het pied, we can test and find out which ones have the sunset and which ones have the pied. And we'll know all of them will have ultramel because she's visual.
Yeah, I think that, and Courtney had said this earlier, I think that the testing helps out so many different aspects. And in a second we could talk about like some negatives of the testing, but I think that the biggest benefit of it is going to be for multi-recessive projects, and it's that you don't necessarily need the double visual or the triple visual in order to work double, triple, and quadruple projects. You could work it from double hets or visual hets and just test your animals so that way you know what are the holdbacks that will progress your project further. No, you're not going to hit as many of the holdbacks, but you will still be able to get those genes into your collection, even though I usually don't like saying collection.
Yeah, I don't like that.
But you can pick out the exact animals that you need in order to progress your project further.
Oh, no, go ahead, sorry.
No, I was just going to ask.
Well, I was going to say, as far as the negatives,
yeah.
I don't really know that there's necessarily negatives. I think when you're thinking about negatives, maybe the only thing would be like cost. Like it costs money to get the test, and it's not cheap either. It's like after everything's said and done,
$60-$70.
$60-$70. You're not going to be dropping that on, every animal that you produce, which I guess you wouldn't have to. But in addition to the price of the animal, we're probably going to see a huge fluctuation in prices or in addition to the price of the test, I think we're going to see a pretty big fluctuation of prices in the market, because you're going to have a lot more guarantee. And so the ones that are not guaranteed aren't going to hold the same value, and there's going to be a lot less high dollar animals because they're no longer possibly het. They're just not het. Because there's no such thing as a possible het. They're just het or they're not. It's just you don't know what they are, and now you do. I think there has been a pretty big price fluctuation recently in the last year or so. We've seen a lot of prices drop drastically, but they had raised enormously right before that. Like I remember like a pastel clown went from like 400 to 800 back down to 400 in like a span of 2 years. So prices are kind of all over the place already. And I think the genetic test is going to have a lasting effect on prices, and I don't know what that effect will be yet.
So one, and I guess this isn't in the negatives and all that stuff, but maybe it's a negative. I personally think that the genetic testing is going to make people feel way more comfortable doing het-to-het pairings. And I think that by doing het-to-het pairings, you're essentially, if you're doing a visual to a het, 50% of the babies on average statistically are going to come out as visuals.
And all of them will be at least het.
Yes, but with het-to-het, only 25% of the babies on average are going to come out as visuals, and then you're going to get 66% of them coming out as hets, and then 33% coming out.
Well, it's not 66 as het, 66 carrying the gene.
Oh, I thought that it broke down where, because it's 66%.
Well, there's not 66, 33, and 50, and 25.
Oh, I thought that it was, you have your visuals, you know they're visuals, you take them out. Then you have 3 other...
Yeah, but you said 66% of the babies will be het.
Oh, you're right. 66% of the babies that are not visual.
Babies.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, my bad.
I didn't mean to be a stickler, but I was...
Or your degree's in statistics. So.
I didn't mean to okay, sorry.
But yeah, so 66% of the non-visual babies would be statistically het for that gene, but then you still have babies that are not het at all. And I think that what it will end up doing is, with more het-to-het pairings, there's going to be less availability of visuals, because the visuals that are het may be more likely to be held back, and you're going to be getting less 100% hets, because people may be more likely to pair a powerful male that is a het to a powerful female that is a het, rather than doing a powerful female that's a het to a visual male that doesn't have as much power.
Yeah, I see that for sure. But it might increase the number of incomplete dominant genes in an animal, which I think that's actually pretty cool. I didn't think about it like that. You might have more like het and visual animals with a ton of incomplete dominant codoms, and less like guaranteed hets or visuals with no extra genes. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, but I think it's really exciting. Do you have anything else you want to add into it? Or?
Not at all.
I know it's really, really hot right now.
It is so hot in here.
But
Steven turned on the heat and it still gets up to 80 degrees a day.
Yeah. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please like, comment, subscribe, and if you guys like both of us doing it.
Yeah, and definitely comment, because I'm really interested in opening up a conversation about it. We've been talking about it quite a bit, and I like hearing other people's opinions on it.
Yeah. So if you guys enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. We will see you next time.